Let's try that again with the microphone turned on. Right, we're live. Thanks for joining us. I'm apparently finally sitting here with Richard Burgess. How are you, mate?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going very well. Very well indeed.
Give me just 1 second. I'm just
Googling stuff,
starting my own stream.
Oh, right, that's what you're doing. Okay, well, you go ahead and do that.
It'll only be
So this is only about 5 years overdue, Richard?
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been never, Richard. We've never spoken face-to-face because you've never had the courage to do it.
Well, yeah, I didn't want to get doxxed.
Well, you're a ridiculous turd then, aren't you, Richard? Because I've never doxed anybody in my entire life, and that's a ridiculous accusation. It's a pathetic cope, and it's an excuse.
No.
Yeah, it is. Still.
You have.
No, I haven't, Richard. Can you provide any evidence that I did? No, can you provide any evidence for that whatsoever?
Well, Dr. Ricky, Michelle Lowe, you got
neither of those I doxed. Not at all.
To,
just listing people's names, Richard, does not prove that I doxed any of them because I didn't. Doxing, Richard, for those that don't know, is the public publication of somebody's private address. I have never done that, ever. So stop lying. Let's talk about what we need to actually talk about.
That's not what doxing is.
Yes, it is, Richard.
Doxing
Go and look it up. Go and look it up, Richard, you silly little boy.
It's not necessarily publishing somebody's address.
Yes, it is, Richard, still.
You can dox somebody's business, for instance. So, no, it doesn't specifically relate to somebody's private address. You can dox somebody's business, which you did do.
Richard, I will mute you.
You looked up doctor.
Right, you're now muted. Right, now I'm going to speak. Richard, even if I expect that your definition is okay and someone's work address is a private thing, which it isn't if it's already publicly known, I still haven't published anybody's private work address either. So let's deal with what we need to deal with here in terms of debating the actual topic. Stop wasting everybody's time. Okay, I will meet you again if you go off track. It's as simple as that.
Your question. So the person you were debating was trying to remain anonymous online.
Okay, I'll meet you again until you stop talking. We are going to discuss the topic for this debate, Richard, and nothing else.
Well, you didn't even give me a topic. I thought, like, what I was interested in, I was just watching your other live stream where I think it was a pre-recorded video where you were reacting to me reacting to you. You said some kind of interesting things about associations not being causal.
Yep. Why did you find them interesting, Richard?
Yeah, you don't seem to understand like what an association is.
Let me stop you right there before you carry on. Richard, you're sitting there with no more than a high school diploma telling me I don't understand statistical and scientific inference.
I've got more than a high school diploma. I benched 410 pounds. How much can you bench?
That's got nothing to do with knowledge.
How much
about
can you bench, bro?
Whatsoever. I don't know and I don't care. I wouldn't bench anyway because benching is dangerous.
So I guess that lack of vitamin C is making you weak.
No, Richard, it's a lack of training to bench, you silly boy. Now,
yes, so how many push-ups can you do?
Okay, so this is Richard's cope, and I'm going to mute him again because it's just ridiculous. Do you have any more than a high school diploma as a qualification to speak to people publicly about statistics, statistical inference, or science, Richard, yes or no?
Yeah, I can bench 410 pounds. You can't.
Okay, so no is the answer. You don't. No, you do not have any place whatsoever suggesting to anybody publicly what I do and do not understand about science and statistical inference. Okay.
Well, you're weak.
If you ever do, Richard,
why would I care what you think? You can't even like how many push-ups can you even do?
Wow, are you that fucking stupid, Richard? Do you not see how ridiculous you look right now? Do you not understand how stupid you're making
I don't look ridiculous
yourself?
At all. I'm bigger and stronger than you.
So fucking what?
And I'm vegan. So what's your excuse? You're too lazy to train?
I don't need any excuses. I don't have any excuses. There's nothing to be excused. You silly boy.
So the carnivore diet makes you malnourished, where you don't have enough energy or motivation to train. And
I am not malnourished,
Richard.
Okay, Richard, I'm going to mute you again because this is a complete waste of fucking time. We are here to discuss the topic of the video that you have just watched. Nothing else. That is the invitation. What you are saying is you think what I said about association was interesting. Let's hear why you think it was interesting.
Yeah, so you claimed that any kind of data that, vegan or just, I don't know, anybody who has any kind of sensible position on nutrition, like, saturated fat being related to heart disease, your response to that is the data is only associative. That's a strange... Did you mute my mic again?
No.
Okay.
No, it was an accidental click and I just immediately unclicked it.
Okay. Yeah, so you claimed that any of that data is immediately invalid because it's associative. Well, all the data is going to be associative no matter the study.
Right, okay, so what you've just said is false. That's not what I claimed at all. In fact, that is your schoolboy interpretation of what I've said. What I actually said was this, and what I'm about to say is an absolutely unequivocal, absolutely unassailable scientific fact, whether you like it or not, Richard. And it's this: association does not establish causality. It's the first thing you learn.
Well, not in and of
Richard,
itself.
don't interrupt me, son. I'm speaking. You let me finish. Basically, what I'm saying is that association cannot establish causality. That is a scientific fact. It's the first thing you learn in the first half an hour of your first undergraduate degree, which would be something that you would know if you'd ever done any higher training of any kind, Richard, which you haven't.
This is a straw man. I never said in and of itself association establishes causality. You can find an association between ice cream sales and crime. Yes. As ice cream sales go up, crime goes up. That's an association.
Sure.
I'm not claiming that establishes causation. What I'm claiming is...
Why not?
Well, because in and of itself, it doesn't establish causation. Right. Like, that's obvious. If there's a logical link between the association, so ice cream sales and crime don't seem to have a logical link, but weather and crime might have a logical link. When the weather is pretty good, criminals might be more willing to go outside and commit crime.
So actually, what you're doing,
it's not
Richard,
cold or it's not raining.
Yeah, okay, we get it. You're also, what you're doing though, Richard, is you're bolstering my argument, not yours, with everything you're saying right now. What you're saying is, yes, indeed, I am correct, and you are incorrect, Richard, that associations do not establish causality. That is a scientific fact, and you're agreeing with it. So great, let's carry on.
So so when you make the claim that that data is only associative, like that statement makes no sense, because all data is going to be associative. You're trying to find an association between an exposure and an outcome, regardless.
Yes, Richard, yes, but if you then want to turn around and say that when you find an association of some kind, if you want to establish that that association that you've just found is indeed causal, there are scientific disciplines that you are required to undertake in order to be able to make that claim with any veracity and not make yourself look like a pseudoscientist, a fool, or a boy with a high school diploma.
Okay, so
can you please list for me what those disciplines are, son?
Right, so would you say smoking is causally related to, say, lung cancer and heart disease?
I could give you an opinion on that.
Okay, is it or is it not causally linked to lung cancer and heart disease?
I can give you an opinion on that, Richard, but the science can't give us...
Well, I mean, your opinion may or may not be right or wrong.
Right. Well,
I have an opinion on gravity. I don't know what that has to do whether or not gravity is true. So I'm just asking you, is the link causal or not?
Gravity is an observable phenomena that is predictable.
Yeah, so is lung cancer and heart disease from smoking.
Ah, right. But what is the strength of the association?
Pretty strong.
Correct. The association between smoking and cancer of the lungs is very, very high indeed. It doesn't mean causal, but it does mean there is a very powerful, very meaningful association that folks should probably take seriously. Unfortunately,
So
let's
you
get to the
wouldn't say
topic.
the link between smoking and lung cancer is causal?
No, well, I could have an opinion. I could say it's pretty likely. Absolutely, because, well, the relative increase in incidence of lung cancer reported per pack year of smoking is something like 11,800% relative increase. That's pretty impressive. That's pretty strong correlation. That should probably be taken seriously.
Right. Right.
But it does not establish cause and effect scientifically, Richard.
Okay, so you wouldn't say smoking is causally related to lung cancer or heart disease?
No, you're just trying to strawman me and paraphrase what I said in a way to make
well,
it
that's
sound like
I don't know how I
did
could
not.
strawman you when I'm asking you a question. Is
Well,
it or is it not causally linked to lung cancer or heart
is it
disease?
or is it not causally connected? The answer is I can only give you an opinion based on very strong inference. I cannot
Anything
give
you
you
say
factual
is anything you say is an opinion. So I don't know why you're trying to use these weasel words to get out of this.
I'm not using weasel
Is it or
words, you
is it
stupid
not?
little cunt. What I am saying is that there is no scientific
Little?
proof.
Sorry, did you just call me a little cunt? So how tall
Yes,
are
and
you and how much do you weigh?
I mean little, Richard, in terms of your persona, your affect in the universe, your meaning, your worth to anybody.
Okay, well, let's see. I have a bigger YouTube channel. I make more money.
No, you
I'm
don't,
better
Richard. No,
looking
you
than
don't
you.
make more money
More
than I
people
do,
know
Richard. No,
me.
you don't,
More
Richard.
people
No,
give
you
me
don't.
money.
Okay, well, let's
So
shut you up again, because what we want to talk about here today, Richard, is association versus causality, and we'll probably get on to LDL and heart disease when you stop with this ridiculous fucking childlike nonsense, all right? Okay, I'm going to unmute you again and give you another opportunity to deal with the subject matter at hand. Okay, here we go. Right, so you asked me whether or not there is a causal connection between smoking and lung cancer, and I said I can give you an opinion based on very strong inference, but the science cannot answer that question. What's next?
well, clearly it can.
Well, clearly it can't, Richard. One of us, Richard, is a
can.
scientist with 20 years experience, and one of us is a boy with a high school diploma.
Okay, so this shows you how ridiculous your epistemic standards are.
Says a boy who wants to say that he's more important than me because he can bench press dead weight.
Right. So if you're going to claim you can't make any causal inferences with a relationship between cigarette smoking and lung cancer or heart disease, your epistemic standards are ridiculous.
They're not my standards, Richards. They are the standards of science.
So since we can't establish whether or not the link between cigarette smoking and lung cancer is causal, on what basis can you promote your stem cell support supplement?
On the basis that it does what it says it does. There is a peer-reviewed publication that shows that the result of taking the stuff is what it says it is on the bottle.
So it's only an association?
Correct, yes.
Okay,
Absolutely
so
correct.
you can't say that it actually does anything. It's only associated.
Yes, I can say that there is a study showing.
Well, there's no you can't establish a causal inference.
Between what and what, Richard?
Well, between the stem cell support and whatever you claim it does.
So you don't even know what it claims it does.
Well, what does it do? Does it make?
Well, Richard,
is it going to help me? Is it going to help you bench over 400 pounds?
Okay, let's beat you again. You are wasting time again, Richard. Let's talk about associations, and let's talk about associations between cholesterol, LDL, or some subfraction of that, and heart disease, because that's the actual topic here, isn't it?
Well, no, the topic was whether or not associations can be causal. That's really what I came here to
That's a different question. An association can be causal if the R-squared value is 1.0 or minus 1.0, but nowhere in between those two values.
Okay, so so because of that, you're unwilling to say the association between cigarette smoking and lung cancer is causal?
It's not me. It's science that makes that assertion. It's ill-disciplined pseudoscientists that forget that discipline and break that rule and communicate in a way with the lay public to make them think that these scientists are able to talk about cause and effect from their associations, which have values on the R-squared scale of other than 1.0 or minus 1.0. Those are the scientific facts still.
Yeah. So where are you getting that standard from?
That is the standard of science. Cause and effect will absolutely, necessarily by definition, produce an R-squared value of either 1.0 or minus 1.0 and nowhere in between. Anywhere in between those two figures is
would
an
that
association which is not causal.
Why would that have to be the case?
Because of uncontrolled degrees of freedom, collinearities, and covariates, Richard. Those are the statistical facts. And if you'd had any training in statistics, you wouldn't be asking me that question.
No,
you'd understand it.
No, like I've literally never heard any statistician ever claim that before, that a link can't be causal if the R-squared value is anything less than 1.
Well,
so
what you
have
heard, Richard, from your little band of theologues that follow you and enjoy what the nonsense that you put forward, I have no interest in what they have.
Well, where are you getting? Like, I'm just like, is this a standard you made up, or like,
no,
where is this coming from?
No, it isn't. The R-squared is a thing called
the
coefficient of the R-squared is a thing called the coefficient of causality. And if the coefficient of causality is not 1 or minus 1, then it is not causal.
Where are you getting that from?
It's a fact, Richard. I don't care whether you understand that fact or not.
Show me a source.
It's still a fact. Richard, you can't have a impromptu debate on the cuff right now, like we've decided within 5 minutes we're going to do this, and expect to swap references. If you want to have a reference swapping debate, we can do that too, and I'll tee you to bits in that one as well.
Well, I mean, if this is just a well-established fact in statistics, I don't know why you can't just show me like one source that asserts that.
Well, what you need to do, Richard, is go and do some background search of your own. I'm not here to hold your hand and wipe your ass for you. You can go and find any statistics textbook you like. It'll tell you that. Okay.
So when you did this randomized trial for your stem cell support supplement, did you find an R-squared?
It's not my trial.
Well, sure. Whoever conducted the trial, I don't mean you specifically. Did they find an R-square value of 1 or minus 1?
Well, Richard, that study was not designed in such a way as to produce that particular statistic. It was not a look at an association between this and that. In fact, what it was a study whereby a group of people, a small group, sure, came into the lab on 2 occasions, and in random order, they received the stuff that is supposed to do the thing or a placebo, and then their responses as to what the stuff is supposed to do were tracked physiologically for a period of time, and the area under both curves for the participants was then compared.
Okay.
So what they did in that case was an ANOVA with repeated measures, which does not produce an R-squared value. That produces an F statistic. So again, Richard, if you want to talk to me about statistics, first, and suggest that I don't understand statistics, which is what you're trying to do, perhaps in the first instance, you should have some training in statistics so that you know what the hell it is you're talking about. And let's move off this rule stuff, because that's absolutely above reproach from the likes of you or anybody else, in fact. And let's talk about the thing that we really are talking about here, which is the association between cholesterol, LDL, or any of the lipoprotein subfractions and heart disease.
Sure.
All right. Go. Tell me all about it.
Yeah.
And I'll stop you and correct you when you get it wrong, which will be probably immediately. But let's go.
Yeah, sure. So LDL has strongly and consistently been associated with heart disease.
Okay, that's false, Richard. Now, there you go. See, I said I'd stop you as soon as you got it wrong, and it would be immediately, and I was correct.
Okay.
No, it hasn't been. Please provide me the R-squared value.
Depending on the study, you're looking at like about 0.7 or more.
False, Richard.
What?
That's false. That's not.
How's that false?
Well, it's not the R-squared statistic that comes out of such studies.
What, the association between LDL and heart, like atherosclerosis progression?
A progression, you say? That's quite a different thing from incidence, isn't it?
Well, again, depends.
Depends on what. Richard.
If you're talking about
you're the expert here, Richard. I'm just some idiot. I'm just some bald idiot in New Zealand who can't bench press. You're the expert. Tell us all about it.
Right. Well, it depends. So
Depends
when
on
you're I know when you're looking at progression. So when you compare LDL versus rate of progression, yeah, I've seen some where the R-squared value is around 0.7.
Okay, well, quote that for me.
Sorry?
Well, you said you've seen R squared equals 0.7. Where have you seen that?
I can't remember the exact study.
All right, so that's just something you've pulled out of your asshole then.
All right, sort of like, your stem cell support shit.
Well, you can go and look at the study for yourself if you like, Richard. It's published on the Sorul website.
Okay.
You're more than welcome to go and look at it, and you won't have the hope in hell of understanding the thing because you have no training in science.
Okay.
But you're more than welcome
anyway, there is a strong and consistent relationship between LDL and atherosclerotic cardiovascular
Well, no, there isn't,
disease.
Richard. Still, your opinion on that doesn't change the fact that there isn't. No, there isn't.
Well, there
Richard.
is.
No,
well, there is.
Isn't.
That's why they prescribe statins and PCSK9 inhibitors.
No, they prescribe statins and PCSK9 inhibitors, Richard, because they can make trillions of dollars out of doing that. It's nothing to do with an association between
no.
Yes, Richard,
especially statins. They're generic medications. They're extremely cheap.
And they still make trillions of dollars a year out of them, Richard. They still make trillions.
Trillions?
Yeah.
Can you show me the actual data on that? I don't think it's trillions.
I'll tell you what, as soon as you show me the study that shows your so-called R squared equals 0.7, I'll show you some studies that talk about how much money is being made by statins, or through statins, I should say.
Okay. So how much money are you making from your stem cell support thing?
Plenty.
Oh, yeah, fair bit. So it's bullshit then?
No, it's
so
not.
It doesn't work.
It does.
Well,
work,
it
does exactly what it says it does.
Well, no, it's only an association, and you're making money off of it.
Okay, right. We're going to mute you again to get you back on track. We are not here to discuss Sorul products, or anything to do with Sorul whatsoever. We are here to discuss the relationship between LDL cholesterol, so-called, or any subfraction of any of the lipoproteins, and heart disease, Richard. That is all we're here to discuss, nothing else. So carry on in that vein.
Claim the only okay, so he keeps muting me. So
that's right.
When you claim
anytime you go off topic,
when you claim the only reason they're prescribing statins is for money, then I can rightfully accuse you.
Once again, we're going to mute you again because you're misquoting me. I didn't say the only reason. I said the main reason.
So it works.
No, it doesn't work. Well, what statins and PCSK9 inhibitors do is they are associated with a reduction in the level of LDL in the blood. So what?
And
nothing else.
Oh, they don't actually reduce event rates.
No, not meaningfully.
Not meaningfully.
No, not meaningfully at all. Not clinically meaningfully. They show statistical significance.
So,
however, the reason for that is likely the mechanistic reason for that is likely to be the fact that both of those drugs are serendipitously anti-inflammatory in the short term.
No, that's pretty unlikely.
No, it's not unlikely. It's a fact.
No, it's pretty unlikely.
It's not unlikely still, Richard. It's still a fact, and your opinion on that has no impact on the fact that it's a fact.
No, that's incredibly unlikely, because
it's not unlikely at all.
Look at inflammation as an independent variable. It actually has less predictability than cholesterol itself.
No, it doesn't, Richard. No, it doesn't, Richard.
Yeah, it does.
No, yes, it does. No, your opinion on that has no effect on the fact. No, it doesn't still. No, it still doesn't. No, it still doesn't. Okay, we're going to meet you again. No. Okay, if you want to refute what I'm saying, you need to provide some evidence that it's so. I am speaking from a standpoint of authority in the field as 20 years as a cardiovascular pathophysiologist. I do know what the literature says and what the statistics are. If you want to have a planned debate with me where we exchange references beforehand, that's fine. If you want to tell me I'm wrong, you still need to provide me with a reference that says I'm wrong right now. Otherwise, sorry, I'm the authority here and you are not.
Okay, so what do you mean by you're a cardiovascular pathophysiologist?
I know those are words bigger than wheelbarrow, Richard. I understand they're probably above someone of your station, but let's break it down for you. Cardio, the heart, vascular.
Yeah. I'm asking you, like, how are you a cardiovascular pathophysiologist? Like, what's your educational background?
By studying and by getting multiple advanced research publications,
So you have no degree.
Richard, that's a ridiculous joke, and you know it. No degree.
So you don't have a degree?
Are you out of your mind, son? I have about, well, depending on what you class as an advanced research degree, I have either 3 or 4 of those, in fact. But we're not here to debate my qualifications.
You're not a cardiologist. You don't have the PhD. You just have research publications.
We are not here to discuss my background, Richard. We are here to discuss the topic.
Well, clearly we are, since you're using...
Well, we're going to mute you once again because you're off track once again. I will not tolerate this ridiculous, insolent crap from you, Richard. We are here to discuss the relationship between LDL cholesterol and heart disease and nothing else. So let's do that.
Okay, well, I can bench over 400 pounds, so
I'm right. So I'm going to mute you once again because nobody gives 2 rip-roaring fucks how much you can bench press, Richard. At least nobody with more than 3 brain cells. Once again, we are here to discuss the relationship between LDL, cholesterol, or any subfraction of any of the lipoproteins and atherosclerosis heart disease. Let's do that.
Yeah, so Bart, when you claim the reason why statins and PCSK9 inhibitors have improvements in heart disease event rates, or
well, once again, I'm going to stop you there, Richard, and mute you again because I didn't say that. You said that. I don't believe they do meaningfully clinically at all, in fact.
You said they do reduce event rates. You just...
No, I didn't. I said there was a statistical difference between the 2 signals, which is so close to 0 as actually makes no odds clinically for any one given living human being over a 100-year lifespan, in fact. That's what the statistics show us.
So you did claim, and I don't know why you deny that, you did claim that the event rate is reduced. It's just that...
No, Richard, once again, no, I did not. I said there is a statistical difference between the 2 signals, which is so close to 0 as makes no odds, in fact, clinically, to any one given living human being over a 100-year lifespan still.
Yeah, so again, you said that there is a difference in event rate.
No, again, let me repeat myself once again, Richard. I said there is no meaningful difference between the situations in any one given living human being over a 100-year lifespan. There is a statistical difference in the signal, but it is meaningless.
Yeah, so...
And I said that the likely mechanism of this very tiny difference was inflammatory, anti-inflammatory effect, short-term of those 2 classes of drug.
Okay, so Bart...
You're really struggling, aren't you, Richard?
Well, yes, because you keep muting me and talking over me because you don't like what I'm about to say.
If you misquote me, Richard, I will mute you and correct your false quotation.
Well, I'm not misquoting you.
Yes, you are.
Look, you acknowledge that there is an improvement in event.
No, again, I'm going to do it exactly again right now, Richard, because you are again about to try and misquote me again, and I will not have it. No, I did not.
So there's no improvement in event rate when you reduce LDL or ApoB through...
Right, once again, let me repeat myself once again, Richard, so I can get through your thick fucking skull. There is no meaningful difference, no.
Okay, just because you're claiming there's no meaningful difference, that doesn't mean there isn't a difference. So even a 1% improvement, that is an improvement.
Okay, what is the noise around that signal, Richard?
I don't know exactly.
Exactly, Richard. You don't know dick about fuck, do you?
Well, I don't know what you mean by that. What's exactly the noise around the signal? Okay, so what's the noise around the signal for your stem cell support?
Okay, again, we are not going to discuss cerebral stem cell support or anything other than the topic that I'm prepared to discuss with you today for the final time.
Make money.
There will be no discussion on that with you today.
Well, right, because you're just trying to scam people and make money, just like all the people pushing statins, right?
No, Richard, not at all.
Well, yeah, what's the noise around the signal with your stem cell support? Tell us.
In terms
Because
of
we
the
know
study that was done,
the
I am not
relationship
going
isn't
to discuss.
causal. It's
I am
just
not
an
going.
association.
Okay, I'm going to meet you again, Richard, because once again, I will not be discussing cerebral stem cell support or that study with you. You can go and read the study for yourself. And if you were remotely competent to look at statistics, you could answer all those questions for yourself by looking at that study. What we are here to discuss is the LDL cholesterol connection with heart disease, the meaning of that, and nothing else, Richard. Still.
So does your stem cell support have...
Okay, still, I'm going to mute you again. I'm going to unmute you again in a minute, and I'm going to give you the opportunity to talk about what we are here to talk about.
Okay, so do statins have greater or less efficacy than your stem cell support?
Okay, again, that's not what we're here to discuss. Try again.
Okay, so they don't.
Okay, again, that's not what we're here to discuss whatsoever. I'm not providing any answer one way or the other on that. I don't need to. It's already in the study. Go and have a read of it yourself and perhaps get some help from someone who knows something about statistics to be able to interpret the thing.
Okay. Well, I think during this debate, we've established that your stem cell support is a scam.
Okay, again, I'm going to shut you the fuck up again because we are not going to discuss that. We are just here to discuss the scam of statins, PSK9 inhibitors, and the lipid hypothesis, and nothing else still. And this is your final warning, Richard. I will not tolerate this nonsense. This is not the topic for discussion. And if you go there again, that will be the end. Am I clear?
You're afraid. Okay, so you're afraid that I'm unraveling your scam and you're going to run away.
No, I'm not afraid of anything, Richard, least of all you.
Well, clearly you are. You said you're going to run away.
No, Richard, I am not going to run away. I'm going to end this discussion.
You're running away.
No, if you don't stay on topic of this discussion, it will end this discussion. It's as simple as that. We are here to discuss LDL cholesterol and heart disease and nothing else still.
So first of all, we didn't actually agree to a debate topic.
Well, that's not my fucking problem, is it, Richard? I'm telling you that's what I'm prepared to discuss with you today. So that's the end of that.
Well, again, we didn't agree to a debate topic before we made the debate.
Again, I don't give a fuck what happened beforehand. You agreed to come online and have a debate with me. Obviously, it seemed to me that you were wanting to discuss the topic, or largely the topic of the video that you were responding to in a facile, ridiculous, and childlike fashion. So I'm giving you the opportunity to do that. And instead, you want to take pot shots at the company I'm joint ventured with. By the way, a company that will litigate. Okay? So you probably want to watch yourself.
Oh, well, maybe you want to watch yourself because you're not actually providing any evidence that, you know, it does anything. You're admitting that
it's already been provided by the company.
Well, again,
Richard, I'm going to, because you're interrupting me and I'm not going to have it. Basically, the paper that shows that the stuff, the inference that this thing does what it says it does, is available publicly. You can go and have a look at it right now if you like.
Okay. Does it show a causal link between the exposure and the effect outcome?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, so it's just an association.
That's right.
Just like just like with statins.
So what?
Okay. So based on the evidence available, it has about as much efficacy as statins.
No, I didn't make any statement about comparative efficacy in any way, shape, or form. That's your formulation.
Okay, well, you claimed that statins are like it's just an association, so they're just bullshit.
What's your point?
Okay, so if there's just an association with your stem cell support, it's bullshit.
No, Richard. Not at all.
Okay, well, I'll take your word for it.
Well, that's good, because you probably should.
Okay.
In fact, it would probably help you a great deal if you'd actually take the stuff, Richard.
Yeah? What would it do for me?
Serious problems. But mate,
what would it do for me?
Well, what it would do, Richard, is cause the exact thing that it claims that it causes. Plus or minus.
What do you mean cause? You said there's no causal inferences that you can make from the study. It's just an association.
Well,
if
you like, the thing here is that when you take the stuff, like, Richard, shut the fuck up.
Go ahead.
If you want to hear what I've got to say, shut the fuck up and give me the respect to let me answer the question. When you take 2 capsules of Stem Enhance Ultra, The study that's been done showed that on average, there was X response, plus or minus variation around that and individually. And as I've already said, you can go and read that study for yourself to see how effective that was, and what the signal to noise ratio was. So let's get back to
well, what would
the
it do
actual
for
topic
me?
here. What would it do for you?
Yeah.
For you individually, I can't possibly make a prediction.
Okay, well,
what
do the statistics show it does on average?
Well, again, Richard, you can go and read that study for yourself if you like. I'm not here to discuss that study with you.
Well, I just want to know what I could expect from, the supplement.
Well, on average, in those individuals that were studied on that occasion in that study, there was a 25% increase at peak in circulating adult stem cells. I think it was 2 hours post-ingestion, plus or minus the noise around that. But let's get back to what we are going to talk about, which is still the relationship, so-called, its meaning or otherwise, between LDL cholesterol or any subfraction of the lipoproteins and atherosclerotic heart disease. Let's do that.
Yeah. So, from my perspective, there is a clear association between LDL, or more specifically ApoB, and atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease.
Okay, what is the value of that? What is the value of that association or that coincidence? What is the R-squared value on that, Richard? You've said it's 0.7, and I'm saying no, it isn't. One of us is competent to read stats and one isn't. So where do we go from there?
Okay, well, you can, so like when you're talking about event rate specifically, you can predict that the event rate will end up approaching 0 if you can get your LDL, or more specifically ApoB, low enough. So you may not personally be able to do...
All right. Let me help you understand that, Richard, because I know it's complex. How low is low enough to be associated with approaching 0 incidence?
So if you don't already have heart disease, an LDL below 70 seems to be associated with an extremely low event rate where it's near 0.
And you're talking about that study that showed that progression rate thing that had an N equals 2 in the below 70 category, aren't you? Yes,
no. Well, that's one of.
There are no other studies, Richard. I'll tell you why.
No, there are.
What do you have to do to get your LDL below 70?
Well, eating lots of fiber, exercising, be at a healthy body weight, genetics help, and you might also
none of those things will get you much below 70, Richard. It's an unnaturally low LDL level.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
A lot of people, I would say probably about half the population could do that.
Well, they can't,
without
though,
drugs.
Richard. They can't, though, Richard, because if they could, and it was important to do, they would do, wouldn't they? The genetic set point for LDL is around about 220, actually, Richard.
The genetic set point for LDL is 220?
Plus or minus individual differences,
for LDL, and we're talking about LDL-C.
Oh, my God. What do you mean LDL-C, Richard? What's that?
That's the molecule count.
No, it isn't, Richard.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, no, it still isn't. Your opinion that it is still doesn't make that so. It still isn't so. LDL-C stands for LDL cholesterol, Richard.
Yeah,
and it doesn't exist.
The molecule.
It doesn't exist. What are you talking about?
Okay, it doesn't exist.
That's right.
LDL-C when you're looking at... Exist. Okay, so when I'm looking at the lab work, they're giving me lab work that just they made up?
Well, actually, Richard, as it turns out, yes, because so-called LDL-C is not measured anyway. It's estimated. So yes, they are.
Yeah, well, you can measure it, but it's usually an estimated
but that's not
score.
done. That's not done. And the thing that's being measured,
well, again, the estimate's
number of
very
LDL
accurate.
carriers, Richard, nothing to do with
the estimate is
LDL
accurate
carriers,
within like 10%.
LDL cholesterol is not in existence because cholesterol only comes in one form: cholesterol. LDL is a carrier. It's not cholesterol.
Yes, I know.
Richard.
Yes,
no, you
I know.
don't know clearly because you just told me LDL-C is something other than what it is. So it's clear that you don't know. So I'm educating you.
Yes, I know this. I know that
Well,
it's
you clearly
usually
don't know this, Richard,
calculated.
still. You
I
still
know that it's
clearly don't know.
usually calculated.
That's right.
But the calculation is usually very accurate, especially for non-diabetics.
No, it
For
isn't, Richard,
diabetics,
still. Okay,
yeah,
what is the R squared value around that? Because you're telling me it's very good. Well, what is it?
I
How
don't
is it?
even know what the fuck you mean by
Right, you
that.
don't even fucking know, Richard. So you're just giving us your
Well, you're
opinion,
saying things
which is
that
based
make
on
absolutely
absolutely
no
no
sense.
education in the field whatsoever. Okay, good.
Okay, so you claimed the normal physiological range for LDL is 220.
Yep.
Okay, so when you're getting lab work done and they tell you that an LDL above 100 is high,
That's an arbitrary decision. That's an arbitrary decision, Richard. That's a threshold that's been imposed by people.
I don't know what you again, I don't know what you mean by arbitrary. Yes, we could set it at 90. We could set it at 110.
You don't know many words bigger than wheelbarrow, do you, Richard? That's the problem.
Yeah,
because you have no
no. When you claim it's arbitrary, I could just say your claim that 220 is arbitrary. I don't know what that word does for you.
Or you could give
in
me
that
the respect
context.
of asking me where that comes from, and I could tell you very simply that before the lipid hypothesis was put forward, before PSK9 inhibitors and HMG coenzyme A reductase inhibitors were available, the standard, the normal, the middle of the bell-shaped curve on someone's cholesterol, total cholesterol, was 300.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was, Richard. Whether you liked it or not, it still was. Yes, it was. Still.
No, it was not.
It still was, Richard, whether you like that or not.
No.
Still.
It is extremely hard for most people to get an LDL of 300.
I didn't say LDL. I said total cholesterol, Richard. Again, you should clean your ears out.
Even total, that's very rare.
No, it isn't, Richard.
No, that's rare.
It isn't,
even
Richard.
total,
No,
that's rare.
No, it still isn't. No, it still isn't.
No, even total, that's very unusual.
No, it still isn't. Wrong again.
So were you talking about total before, but you just misspoke and you said LDL?
No. I said the total.
So you're telling me the normal
300 and the LDL fraction of that was around about 220. That's what it was.
Where are you getting that from?
Where am I getting it from?
Yeah.
Have you never even?
So you're telling me prior to like 1980 something? When did statins come out? The normal LDL score for your average person was 220.
That's right.
Where are you getting that from?
Well, you can go and look it up for yourself, Richard. If you actually had any research skills, you could go.
That is baffling.
Go and look it up, Richard. It's a fact, whether you like that or not.
Okay, Bart, that I with a very high degree of certainty, I can tell you that's not true.
Well, you're wrong, Richard. Your certainty is based on your high school diploma, isn't it, son?
Dude, you like
don't call me
that
dude.
Would be normal for somebody who's like morbidly obese and just eats tons of butter all day.
For the average population prior to the inception of those drugs and the lipid hypothesis, the standard American diet, etc. That's what it was, Richard. Go and look it up. It's a fact.
No.
Yes,
look,
still.
I don't even know if that's normal in the carnivore community.
Well, it is. That's the fact of the matter is you don't know dick about fuck, Richard. That's the whole point.
I think Frank Tofano, I think his LDL score was around 220, 240 when he was on the carnivore diet.
So now you're going to give me an N=1 example? What's that going to prove, Richard? I don't give a fuck what Frank Tough Anus had about
it. Well, I think Paul, I think Paul Saladino was around
Paul Saladino was not
around that range.
Richard. Paul Saladino was not a
well, he's not right now. I think Paul Saladino was around that range, and I think Sean Baker.
Fuck, Richard? Who cares?
Yeah, like these are people. Well, these are people who are only eating meat, zero fiber, and they're eating very high amounts of saturated fat.
So what?
There's no fucking way your average American had an LDL of 220.
Well,
like no chance.
There's no point
No
going
chance.
backwards. There's no point going backwards.
I
and
could
forwards and you
believe
giving
like
us your
150
okay, I'm going to
maybe.
shut you the fuck up again. We're going to move off this because at the end of the day, what I have said is absolutely demonstrably correct. If you go and have a look at the medical records of people prior to that, you will find I am correct and you are incorrect, Richard. Let's move on to something else. What is your next point? What is your next point?
Well, we're not moving on from this because like that's just not true. You can look at
Richard. It still is.
Well, dude, you can look at prospective cohorts like the Bogalusa heart trial or heart study. The average person's LDL was not 220.
Yes, it was, Richard. Still.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was. Still.
No, it wasn't.
Yes,
like the Framingham study as well. The average person was not 220, and this is before the 1980s. Where are you getting this?
In that study, perhaps I'm getting it from being actually fully appraised of what's in the literature and what's in the medical records, Richard, and you clearly are not. So let's move on. Even if I
there's no source.
Even if I give you this point, Richard,
no source.
Okay, I'm going to shut you up again. Even if I give you this point, Richard, which I'm not going to, but even if I did, that still has no impact whatever on the point at hand, which is there a causal relationship or a meaningful relationship of any kind, actually, between LDL cholesterol or any subfraction of the lipoproteins and heart disease? And the answer is still no, there isn't.
There absolutely is.
No, there absolutely is not, Richard. No, wrong again. So if you're just going to say, no, you're wrong, without providing me with any reason to take what you're saying seriously, we're wasting our time here, aren't we, Sunshine?
So I want to get back to the claim where you claimed prior to, I think it was like 1985 or something, when statins were released, your average American's LDL was 220. That is just not true. And I think you gave it away.
I didn't say American.
So you're just saying the world.
The average
across the entire world,
across the entire population, where there is
data. Now I know you're completely full of shit. There's no way, because in other countries it's lower.
Shut the fuck up.
So you're making it up.
Shut the fuck up, Richard. No, you need to go and look this up because it's clear that you haven't done so. Okay, and you are muted, so you're wasting your breath right now. All right, let's move on.
Okay, so you made it up.
No, I did not make it up, Richard. Go and look it up.
You made it up.
I am not here to do your research for you. I've given you the fact as to what the average was prior to that, and you can go and look that up. And it doesn't matter anyway. That's not the point. We're getting bogged down on a point that has got nothing to do with the actual moot here. So let's get back to the moot, shall we?
Yeah, so I would say the best evidence that ApoB is causal when it comes to atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease would be meta-analyses of Mendelian randomization studies, prospective cohorts, and randomized trials showing a log linear association between the absolute magnitude of exposure to LDL or ApoB.
Okay, now
the two are kind of the same for
explain log linear, Richard. Explain log linear to us.
Yeah, so it just means that as you increase LDL, you see a linear increase in heart disease risk.
No, it doesn't mean that, Richard. Wrong again.
Okay,
explain log linear. You use the term log linear, so explain it to us. What's the log bit mean?
Okay, well, I can bench 410 pounds, and you can't.
Yeah, good, Richard. So, okay, good cut. So you don't know what you're talking about once again. You just repeat it.
Well, again, nobody cares what like a little pencil neck weed.
I'm going to shut you up again because the point that we've just established is that you don't even understand what log linear means, and yet you're quite happy to spout log linear at me as if you know what it means.
Okay, well, why don't you explain what it means since you're the senior scientist?
Right. What it means is that there is a curvilinear relationship, according to logarithmic mathematics, between this and that. Now, let's look at what this and that actually is. So in the Mendelian randomization studies, Richard, why don't you explain to us exactly how it is that the LDL was measured in the participants in each of the groups concerned?
I wouldn't be able to tell you that.
Right, so you don't understand that either. And yet you're quite happy to sit there and authoritatively, arrogantly spout shit at me that you've heard from some of your mates who purport to have some training and understanding. And what you're actually doing is just espousing a theology that you've heard, nothing that you actually even understand. You don't know how it was measured, because if you did and you'd read those studies and you understood them at all, Richard, you'd know that it was not measured.
Well, yeah, it would be measured, like per participant. They would just measure serum levels.
But what you've just said is false. In those Mendelian studies, no, Richard, don't interrupt me when I'm speaking, son. At the end of the day, in those Mendelian studies, nobody's LDL was measured.
That's not true.
Yes, it is, Richard. Go and read the fucking thing.
Yeah, they do. They measure their LDL.
No, they fucking don't, Richard.
Yes, they do.
No, they still don't.
Yes, they do.
Okay. Bring up a study, a Mendelian study, where they explain how the LDL was measured in those participants that they are talking about in that study. You won't be able to, because they don't, Richard.
Yes, they do.
No, they still don't, Richard.
Yes,
no,
yes,
false.
they do.
No, they still don't. No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
No, they still don't.
Yes, they do.
No, they still don't, Richard.
Yes, they do.
No, they still don't. Shut the fuck up. What's next?
Yes, they do.
No,
so
they don't.
They look at
Richard.
Yeah,
okay.
so they look at
me a study where they measured anybody's LDL in the Mendelian. Okay, I'm going to shut you the fuck up again. Show me a study. Bring one up on the screen if you like. I'll give you the ability to do so, where they actually measured, or even the usual estimation technique, where they actually even did that on any participants in a Mendelian study. Off you go. You're not muted, but I can't hear you saying anything right now, Richard. Why is that?
Because I'm not
Because
talking.
you can't find a study that shows how they measured the LDL in any participants in a Mendelian study.
You're going to have to. Well, you're going to have to. I think it's your stream, so you're going to have to share the.
That's the one. Okay.
Thing on stream.
Got it. All right. All right.
But density with protein.
Very credible.
Right. I'm sure they're all paid by the statin trillionaires.
This study here, Richard, the one that you're looking at there, absolutely. Go down to the conflict of interest on that study, if you like, and start reading some.
Conflict of interest.
There it is there. Start reading.
Travel and meeting logistics were supported.
No. Underneath that, the next paragraph, the one that starts with the big conflict. Start reading, Richard.
Received research grants from Amgen, AstraZeneca, Novo, blah, 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 Pfizer, very long list.
Right, okay. So it absolutely is bought and paid for, isn't it, this opinion?
Okay, so who bought and paid for the research for your stem cell support thing?
I don't know, Richard. I'm not privy to who bought and paid for it, and we're not here to discuss that.
Oh, so it wasn't. Okay, so it wasn't.
Let me be clear here. Let me shut you the fuck up again. The reason, Richard, that I am not engaging with you in a discussion about Cerule products, or anything else today or any other day is nothing to do with there being any kind of problem. It's to do with my agreement with that company, whereby nobody who is associated with the company in the way that I am associated with that company is allowed to do that, trained or otherwise. It's part of our agreement with that company. That's why I'm not prepared to discuss that with you. What I'm telling you is that studies that underpin that product are still available on the company website for you to go and read anytime you like. In the meantime, let's stay on topic with this LDL stuff once again.
Bart, why wouldn't they want to be open and honest and have people discussing the research? Are they trying to hide something?
No, what they're trying to do is to stop people who become members of our IBO organization who may not be very well trained in engaging in such debates with even less trained people like yourself.
Oh, so you're not very well trained.
No, I'm vastly better trained than you are, Richard. And that's
so you're not very well trained. They don't trust you to.
Shut the fuck up, you silly little cunt. You mindless fuck splat. Let's stay on topic, or once again, I will end this discussion.
Okay, so you have an issue. So you have an issue with a conflict of interest in this paper. but you don't have an issue with a conflict of interest with that company paying
No,
for.
no, Richard, I'm going to shut you up again. What I said was I am not going to discuss that company or that product with you in any way, shape, or form today or any other day, period. You're wasting your breath, and I will end this discussion if you don't leave that the fuck alone, and let's focus on this paper here.
The conflict of interest in this paper, but you don't have a conflict of interest
Again,
with
shut
that
the fuck
supplement
up.
company.
Okay, you're going to be muted again. There we go. Tell me, just put your hand up when you're ready to talk about this paper and this paper alone. We'll wait. Just raise one hand like this so that to designate that you are ready to shut the fuck up about anything except the topic at hand right now, which is this paper. We'll wait as long as you like. Either that or just fuck right off, Richard. How's that? Yeah, we'll just talk amongst ourselves while Richard is muted before he puts his hand up to say, I'm ready to talk about this paper. Okay, so we've covered the... Okay, so that's not the one. It's that one, Richard, is what's required. You do that, and I'll unmute you. Okay, there we go. Right, let's talk about this paper.
Okay, so you have an issue with a conflict of interest in this paper, but you don't have an interest with a conflict of...
Okay, shut the fuck up. Let's talk amongst ourselves instead, and Richard can just sit here and watch. What Richard has suggested is that this is a paper he's bringing up to suggest that the LDL levels were measured in the people in the Mendelian studies that they're talking about in this opinion piece. I'm here to correct Richard on that because they didn't. It quite clearly says they didn't. In fact, when you read the methods of the paper, quite clearly, they did not measure anybody's LDL, and ergo this paper, this opinion piece, is unable to describe the relationship between LDL and anything in that population of people with those genetic SNPs or otherwise. Those are the facts. So, that being the case, what else have you got, Richard?
So they didn't measure LDL, but they actually somehow were able to plot magnitude of exposure of LDL with the Mendelian randomization.
Magnitude of exposure is a different thing again from looking at measuring someone's level at any given time, because magnitude of exposure would require an area under the curve calculation, which would require multiple tests of LDL on multiple occasions over an extended period of time. And that was done even less than even a single measurement at any time, which was not done. This is an estimate of what they expect those people's LDL probably was on the basis of their genetic SNP, which is a problem. Which is, hang on, I'm not finished. Which, Richard, is a problem because we all know that genes do not determine the LDL at any given time because genes interact with the environment in which they're placed. Nick Norwitz showed this recently by changing his LDL level by 100 points in a couple of days by just changing his diet. He didn't change his genes, did he? No. So basically, in terms of this study, what I'm saying to you, Richard, is fuck right off, you silly boy. This is not science. This is an opinion piece. It's theology. It's put together by people who have a bought and paid for agenda, which we've already established, and it's rubbish. What else have you got?
Yeah, so your genetics have a pretty massive impact on your LDL score. I'm not disputing the fact that you can change your LDL massively within a few days. Like if you eat several sticks of butter.
Well, therefore, Richard, this estimate of what they expect a person's LDL to be on the basis of what SNPs they possess without ever measuring it, not even once, is invalid.
Well, they did.
No, they didn't, Richard, still. They didn't measure it, not even once.
Well, no, they would have. It's just that
they would have, Richard, because your opinion is they would have, doesn't make the fact that they did not do so any different. They didn't, still.
Sorry, Bart, they did.
No,
they did measure their LDL.
Richard, show me in this paper, in the methods section, where they talk about the fact that they measured these people's LDL in the Mendelian study. Go on. Go ahead.
Well, I'd have to look at each individual study referenced.
That's right, you would, and you haven't done, have you? But so, therefore, you don't know what this paper says. You don't understand the methodology behind it. You haven't even read that or know what it is. And you're sitting there arguing with me a cardiovascular pathophysiologist with 20 years of experience.
You're not a cardiovascular
Yes, I am.
pathophysiologist.
Yes, I am, Richard.
No,
Whether or not
you're making that up. You've just
okay, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. The fact that I am is not affected by your opinion of whether I am or not. I am still. In the same way that the fact that these people never had their LDL measured, not even once on any occasion, is a fact, whether you like that or not. And the fact that this paper is a bought and paid for opinion piece. Fact, whether you like that or not. Still, what else have you got?
So Bart, they did measure their LDL.
No, they still didn't. No, shut the fuck up. No, they didn't. No, they did not. Still, you are completely in error in that regard. They did not measure anyone's LDL, not even once. Still.
They did.
No, they still didn't. No, shut up. No, they didn't. No. Show me in this paper where they described the method by which the LDL was measured. Go. Okay,
Bart, they measured, so they just found those polymorphisms that affect LDL. They measured the people with the polymorphisms.
That can affect LDL, not that did, because they didn't measure. Yep.
Well, they do.
They still didn't. No, Richard, they still didn't. No.
Okay, they did.
No, they still didn't.
Okay, so you're just okay. If you're just going to deny reality, have fun.
Who's denying reality here, Sunshine?
Well, you are, because you're still refusing to admit there's a conflict of interest with the supplement company paying.
Okay, bye, Richard. We're done. Okay, so Richard Burgess, once again, as usual, nothing whatsoever of any value to add. A complete divorcial from reality, a complete inability to deal with objective reality in front of him, cope, obfuscation, ignorance, arrogance, and Dunning-Kruger dripping from every pore. Just absolute ridiculous nonsense from start to finish. So there it is, the debate between myself and Richard Burgess. Once again, another fucktard that thinks he knows more about it than I do, having his ass handed to him, as he has had, and coping with that by saying I'm just denying reality, when in fact that's projection. It's him that clearly is. Anyone with any understanding of the English language can read that paper that Richard had up on the screen there and see for yourselves that I am, in fact, as I usually am, correct. Nobody's LDL was measured in the Mendelian study, not at all. So Richard has said the best evidence for ApoB, in particular, being causal for heart disease, is in the Mendelian studies, and we've just torn the Mendelian studies absolutely to pieces, haven't we? Good fun. Right, let's talk amongst ourselves. Abs, good to see you. Yeah. Obviously, the way that I'm conducting myself today is with malice aforethought. It's designed absolutely to keep control of the situation, because rightly so. There were one or two people commenting that I should calm down. Well, I'll tell you what, anyone that thinks I should calm down when dealing with fucktards like Richard Burgess, all you need to do is try it yourself on some occasion, publicly in front of people, and see how you do. Nonetheless, I still have the facts under control and under my fingertips, and Richard Burgess, unsurprisingly, does not. All right, what else is happening in the chat? Who doesn't know anything even about this topic? Richard, we know that. Wasn't it funny, all those bots during the chat, they're going, botty, bot, botty, bot, bot. We know that Richard is obsessed with botty, don't we? Incredible. Yep. Yes, absolutely fucking delusional, correct. Twank tuffanus, yep, so what? Yes. So I hope that, you found it entertaining. I hope you had some fun with me absolutely refusing to accept any form of nonsense whatsoever from Richard Burgess at all. Jonathan, good to see you. Yep, absolutely. Yep, Abs went to 300 plus 2 weeks after going carnivore. Yep. Diddy. That's probably a meat eater acting like a vegan bot to make vegans look bad. I have vegan friends. Vegans do not spout that nonsense. Yes, they do. They are trying to reduce harm, not cause it. What they're trying to do makes no difference to the fact that what they are doing is causing harm to themselves, their families, and anyone that is stupid enough to listen to them. The vegan diet is totally inappropriate for human beings. Totally. Yes. Richard Burgess knows dick about fuck. Yes, exactly. Speaking slowly and confidently does not establish that you are correct, because Richard is not correct in this regard. Yep. What else have we got? This guy has never actually looked anything up, has he? Well, he does. He kind of Googles while he's trying to hold a debate, and then he finds something on Google that appears to support his idea, like that opinion piece he just brought up there, as if that's going to support his claim, not understanding that he doesn't understand. He hasn't even read the thing, let alone actually understood it. It's just hilarious. Well, tell you what, Jamie, you have a go. You have an attempt at dealing with a fucktard like Richard Burgess and see how calm you remain. I allow myself a certain degree of animation, a certain degree of emotional input into what I'm doing there, purely because it's largely quite entertaining. Anyone that doesn't like that can fuck off. I don't care. It's not my problem. Yeah. But anyway, clearly I'm wrong because Richard could bench press 400 pounds, he says. So that makes me wrong about cholesterol somehow. Yep. Yeah, that was pretty funny as well. Pretty funny. Yep, there you go. There's one source. I wouldn't trust ChatGPT necessarily as a source of or repository of knowledge, but there it is. There is an indication of what I was saying being correct, as of course it is. Okay, well, that's voluntary. You don't have to watch it. Yes, that's Richard's whole. That's his whole thing, isn't it? He refuses to believe it's true, so it isn't. Yeah. Okay. Yep. The thing about me is I don't say things that aren't correct. It gets me into trouble. That's why I don't do it. So when I say something, you can take it to the bank. It's correct. I've checked it out. And I don't have to provide a source for it. Anybody can go and cross-check me with their own source. Good to see over 600 people here watching. That's nice. That was well overdue with Richard Burgess as well. He basically cowered it out of a debate with me about 5 years ago. And so there we go. Yeah, sure, if you can get that arranged with Richard, but it's like trying to herd cats to get that to happen. He agreed to do this today purely because he was pissed off by my premiere presentation immediately before this debate. That's what actually baited him into doing it. So I had to take him up on it immediately. That's why we couldn't get a moderator organized and have references and have a civilized discussion like we probably should have done. But nonetheless, this was damned entertaining. Well, it was for me anyway. Right, what have we got here? Average total cholesterol level among men and women aged 20 to 74 years, National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, 1959, 1962 to 2000 and 2007 and 8, yes? What about it? Yeah, I'm not a gambler. I don't tend to make bets. I don't need to because I know I'm right anyway. Yes, the fact checkers. Where are you, fact checkers? Yep, agreed. I think I did. I think I did prove him wrong and expose him. Yeah. Good. Yep. Yes, butchers never used to trim the fat. Yeah, I suppose that's true. I'm the fact checker. I'm the science too. Trust me, I'm safe and effective. Me, don't question the science, even though that's how you do science. By the way, I'm hoping that the audio was better today than it was in the attempted live stream the other morning. It seems like it was because no one was bitching about the sound. Instead, there were people bitching about I should calm down, and they can fuck off. Yep. Yes, fine. Yeah, structure is fine when you've got time to plan it, Jamie. We didn't. Richard decided on the cuff to come and face me finally. How did that go for him? Oh dear. Yes, I'm the science. Trust me, I'm safe and effective. Yeah. Yes, of course I'm correct. And, his response, among other things, to my correct statement about me being a cardiovascular pathophysiologist was, no, you're not one. Oh, okay, Richard, if you say so. My CV says I am. My work history says I am. My publication history says I am. His history is he has a high school diploma and he can bench press 400 pounds. So I'm wrong. Okay, good. Yes, that's correct, Trace. That is correct. LDL is not bad. Well, Richard Burgess doesn't know how to do anything else except be dishonest. And yes, correct. Benching 410 pounds, was it? Is not the causation of knowledge. Correct. Yes, I am in fact a lord, legally, actually, under the English system of honours. Yeah, it's a customary title. Actually, I'm laird more than I'm lord, but in England, lairds are legally entitled to the honorific my lord. And yes, I am one of those too, whether Richard likes that or not. Yes, let's mention bench pressing because that's important when we're talking about facts and science. Tell you what, Jonathan, how much can you bench press? Ergo, do you know more than me as well? I suspect you do because you can bench a lot more than I can. Debate summary. Bart, yes, it was. Vegan gains. No, it wasn't. Bart, yes, it was. Vegan gains. No, it wasn't. Yeah, there was a bit of that going on because stating that something is so when it isn't can only really be responded to by, well, that's false, Richard. And you can go and look that up. Anyone can go and look it up and see whether I was right and he was wrong or not. Yeah, it was a bit like that. Oh, no, there wasn't or isn't, boys and girls. Is there? I tell you who should have actually been here that wasn't. Well, he really was. He was sat here all along. He was laughing his tits off. Weren't you, Ted? Yes. Oh, my word, what fun. What else is going on? Yes, more people talking about their anecdote there. Also, the claims that I doxed anyone, that's hilarious. No, I didn't, still. Yeah, chaotic is a word. It's a good word. Yep. Oh, yes, there is. Oh, no, there isn't. Yeah, so Richard Burgess, who supports animal rights, is happy to kill a cat by feeding it a vegan diet. Good, Richard. Well done. I think you could squat more than, maybe not with your recent back issues. I was going to say you should be able to squat more than 60. Yeah. Okay. Statins are poison. That is correct. That is a statement of fact. Yes. Yes, it is. Yep. Here's another fact. Richard doesn't like facts, but let's have facts. There they are. Right, there's somebody else to ban. Good. Super chat action. Good. Thank you for the 10 R's. Average total cholesterol level among men and women aged 20 to 74 years. I am objectively correct. Yes. Okay, good. That's what you were saying. All right. Yes, I know I'm objectively correct. Of course I am. I don't say things that are incorrect. Yep. All correct statements of fact. Which bullshit did I give into? I didn't give into any of his bullshit at all. Yep, a quick Google search proves me correct. Of course it does. Because he knew damn well that I had already looked it up and knew my facts. That's why he didn't want to look it up. Plus, he also had his hands full with me, didn't he? He didn't have time to do much Googling or whatever. Okay, well, we've already explained why that's not happening today or didn't happen today. Yep. Right. Yep. Good. Yes. All right. So good. All right. A lot of comments. Oh, here we go. Back to the bench pressing. Yep. Good. Ha 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 ha. Laugh. Yep. correct. Yes, a great deal going on. Yep. That's his only recourse of action because he has no actual knowledge. He has to Google everything. And obviously anyone that just Googles for their information is going to struggle to... Yes, I am the science. You're right. I'm the science. Trust me, I'm safe and effective. Yes. If you don't understand the stats perfectly, you need to be quiet. Yes, correct. Or at least you need to not try and argue with me about what the stats say and what they mean. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. But yes, let's not forget that. Yes, Dicky does like a bit of domination, but usually it's him thumbing his wife on OnlyFans. That's for another day, though. Yeah, exactly. Log linear. Explain that to us. Go. Funny as fuck. In the field of cardiovascular pathophysiology, in a comparison between myself and Richard Burgess, you're quite right. I am the authority in that field and he is not. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. If you keep saying something, it must be true. Safe and effective. Safe and effective. Effective and safe it is. Safe and effective. Yep. I'm glad you can see the amusement, Jay Ducky. I'm glad that you're not one of these idiots who goes, oh, why isn't it moderated? Why is Bart so animated? He needs to calm down. Get a grip, you fucking idiots. Not you, Jay Ducky. Everyone that doesn't get it. Yeah, we covered that the other morning on my premiere presentation when I was talking to Dr. Ann Kurverma about what goes on in India. Yeah. 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 Yep. Good. Yep. Yep. Yeah, so that's the sum and substance of Richard's argument. He benches more than I do, and therefore I'm wrong about cardiovascular pathophysiology. And I made up being a cardiovascular pathophysiologist, even though it's absolutely in my CV, which I don't actually need to share with anybody if I don't want to. All people need to do to determine the veracity of what I have to say on various topics is have a listen and then cross-check what I say. And you'll find I'm correct on every occasion. Source, provide the source. Yeah. Well, there are a number of theories around that with vegans. Provide the source. Yep, I found it pretty amusing too. Yep. Yes, we've talked about that already, Andrew, for fuck's sake. We understand that. And the reasons why that did not occur today have already been made quite clear, haven't they? Yes. But he also shut up real quickly when I decided he should by using the mute button. Yep. Yes. 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 Yep. Yep. Good work. Good work. Yes. JAMA 2005, main outcome measures, mean serum total LDL, HDL, and geometric mean serum triglyceride levels, and the percentage of adults with serum total cholesterol level of at least 240 milligrams per deciliter. Yes, what about it? Yep. What's the point of the debate? Number one, to show Richard Burgess to be the ignorant fucksplat that he is. to show how badly out of his depth Richard Burgess is, to get a well and truly overdue interaction face-to-face with Richard off my chest, and to have some fun with the boy. And I did. Whether you guys enjoyed it or not is your own thing. Many of you did, and that's a good thing. I certainly enjoyed it too. Yes. Yes. Indeed. Right. Yes, he knows dick about fuck. Yep. Yep. Yes. Yep. The conflict of interest is crazy, absolutely crazy. There's no way that paper should ever have been published. And if you look at the top right-hand corner of that paper, in big red bold print, it says current opinion. Interesting. I think I probably will go and have a drink after that. That was fun, wasn't it, kiddies? Wasn't that fun? Yes. Yeah. Richard is getting absolutely smashed, and he was. Yep. Trying to deflect, trying to take pot shots at the Cerule company, which is above reproach, trying to get me to engage in a debate with him about Cerule, which I'm not allowed to do, so I can't really. Yep. Yep, of course I was spot on. I'm always spot on, every time. Yep. No, that's false. Absolutely false. Shane Spence. Richard Burgess didn't win a single point there, not one. The fact that I had to shut him up to get him back on track has nothing to do with winning and losing anything. I mean, if I had just let him spout on mindlessly, that would have been 3 or 4 or 5 hours long. There's no time for that in my life. So I have to shut him up and say, no, Richard, that's not what we're discussing. We're discussing this. Yeah. Yep. Yes. So many comments. Love it. Great to have your participation, boys and girls, today. Yep. Absolutely hilarious. Yep. Lul. Yep. Thanks, Abs. I know. And he knows too. He won't admit it. And all his people will say, he whooped me in a debate. You watch. Just wait for the commentary on Vegan Games channel, because he was co-streaming it onto his own channel. You just watch. All the comments on his channel will be all about how he was absolutely whooping me. Rightio. Yep. Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Oh, V, you clearly don't watch a lot of my stuff, do you? I'm playing a role here. I'm playing a character. What I'm saying is absolutely scientifically unassailable, and the swearing and the carry on is an act for clicks, okay? Watch my stuff. You'll see. It's great fun. Why is VG not respecting what I'm saying? Because he's an idiot. Because he's a theologically driven buffoon. Because he knows exactly dick about fuck, basically. Yeah, no, he can't stay on topic because he knows he can't actually foot it with me in that topic. Ted, twiddle the knobs. Yes, he was. He was constantly muting Richard, was Ted. Good work, Ted. Good boy. Yep. Gave him a good schooling, absolutely. Yeah, time does fly when you're having fun, isn't it? Yep. Good on you. That means you must be right and I must be wrong. Well, it's voluntary. Nobody made you watch it. Safe and effective it was, though. Nobody made you watch this, but it was safe and effective. Effective and safe, so it was. Yep. We know. Yep. Never had the plot. Yep. That's why he wants to try and take pot shots at Cerule instead. Yep. Yep. Oh, look, please get a clue. Whoever you are, please get a fucking clue about anything. Because, yeah. Mm-hmm. Nope. Nope. Yep. 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 All of that. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Whether you guys enjoyed it or not's your own thing. It was fun for me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, he thinks he's got me. He hasn't got me on anything, did he? What did he get me on? Anything? No? Yes. Yeah, Richard doesn't even know what risk is. Mm-hmm. Okay, right. Basically, on the basis of your commentary here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut you the fuck up. I'm going to actually piss you off from the channel altogether because you're an absolute fucking idiot. All right? Bye. Sick of you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was quite a good surprise for me too. I didn't expect Richard would ever do this. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely nothing. Yep, that's why you just have to hit the mute button and say, shut the fuck up, Richard. We're not talking about that. We're talking about this. Uh-huh. Yes, he did just get slapped. Yeah. Yep. Correct. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yes. Hilarious. I'm off about basic statistics. Tell me all about basic statistics, Richard. Explain log linear. Good, Richard. Well done. Yeah, you'd think he would be smarter, but he's not. The reason he's not smarter is because he thinks he knows everything already. He's Dunning Kruger on legs, basically. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a problem though. He never will until he's actually made to. Oof. Yeah. Mm. Yes, chat has chilled out. Yes. Good. Have a steak. Like it. All right, kiddies. I'm gonna be done. I'm gonna jump off. It's been great. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being here. Go and buy Cerule just to piss Richard Burgess off. It's good stuff. It does exactly what it says it does on the tin or the bottle, as the case may be. I've used it myself for more than 15 years, and it's changed my life for the better in so many ways that I don't need to explain to Richard Burgess. Many others of you already are fine Cerule customers, and you're more than welcome to continue to be so and to tell others that that's a good idea for them to as well. Yep. So we'll see you around the traps soon. Once I get some time to scratch my ass. I did have to take the time out, obviously, today to do this because, wow. Wow. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Thanks for being here. That's an hour and a half of your life you'll never get back, but I'll tell you what, there was some fun to be had for children of all ages, wasn't there? So let people know that this stream exists, and, well, I think this one will get quite a good number of viewers. So there it is. There it is. See you then. Ciao for now, boys and girls. Thanks. And thanks for the super chats, everyone that did. Obviously, you know, as a one-man band here, when Ted's not being very helpful, I can't really keep up with it all and bring them all up on the screen. But I do thank you very much for all those super chats during the so-called debate there, the argument, really. Hope you got your money's worth. See you soon. Ciao for now.